always fun to hear her story because, you can sense her joy in coming back to life, which I think is fun. So, out of curiosity, before we begin today, just show of hands if you're comfortable showing me. Who here today is going, I want to get off blood pressure, cholesterol, medications, currently diagnosed with a heart issue. Just want to make sure we're all in the same place. This is Heart Health Day, I guess. But actually, you're going to find out a lot of it has to do with everything. Okay, so to set the tone for today, I hope you guys are okay. I'm going to show you a video of the world's most dangerous intersection. And you might wonder what the heck does an intersection have to do with heart health. But I'm going to prove a point. I promise I'll prove it. So has anybody ever heard of this area called the Mescal Square in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia? Have you ever seen this?
I saw that.
Let me describe something real quick. This is a seven-lane multi-highway with no lane divisions except for a few. There are no traffic lights. There are no stop signs. This is a 5-lane major highway going this way and a 14-lane, of course, 7-7 major highway going this way. Absolutely no traffic stuff. Watch this guy try to cross the road here. Okay? Absolutely no traffic lights.
Wait a minute, but how did I get
No stop signs. It's their country, they're used to this. Okay? But let me ask you a question. If I said to you, it's called the most dangerous intersection in the world because on average there are 300 car accidents per week. 300 car collisions per week. Why? I mean, look at it. There's no directional guidance. There's no stop signs. There's no red lights. There's no police, etc. Okay? Now, the reason I'm showing you this is I want to make an analogy and ask you a question. I want you guys to become doctors. Ready? If the government of this Ethiopian city said, we need to figure out why there's so many car accidents. There's 300 a week, people are dying left and right. It's dangerous, we need to figure out why there's so many car accidents. They would hire someone from what I would call, ready for this? That one's dead. The motor vehicle division. Okay? They're going to bring in a motor vehicle division specialist, an MD. And they're going to say, diagnose why this is happening. Why are there so many car accidents? How come this is happening? Etc., etc. And in their brilliant science and wisdom and investigation, they put together a correlation and say, well, wait. Every time there's a car accident, we see these on the road. So therefore, these skid marks must be causing the car accidents. See where I'm going with this analogy? Yeah. Some of you may. These skid marks, the presence of skid marks, is 100% correlation to a car accident. Therefore, they cause car accidents. So the MD of the motor vehicle division will say, what we need to do is figure out how to remove the skid marks. Then there will be no more car accidents. So maybe they come up with some sort of coating that you have to apply to your tires so that you won't leave skid marks. Maybe they coat the road with like a Teflon or some sort of like protectant so that as the car skids through, it doesn't leave the skid marks. They'll say to you, if we can lower the skid marks, you will no longer have all the car accidents. If we can get rid of skid marks disease, then we can fix the health of this intersection. You guys see where I'm going with this?
Oh my God.
Right? Now watch.
Killing us.
Watch.
That's what it is.
We have been told a lie for the last 60 plus years that skid marks cause heart disease. And it absolutely 1000% is a blatant lie. Cholesterol does not cause heart disease. Cholesterol does not cause you to have high blood pressure. Cholesterol does not even plaque or clog the arteries directly. It's whatever is causing the cholesterol to be there in the first place that's doing it. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
So I want you to open your mind today because I promise you if I tell you, oh, guess what? A cholesterol total number of 285 is not a bad, it's not a big deal. It doesn't actually mean anything. It's just a specific number that has come up to diagnose skid marks disease. If you have 200 or more skid marks, then they're going to say you're at risk for a car accident. If your total cholesterol is over 200, you're going to have a heart attack. Absolute 1,000% lie. There was a study done in Japan. Japan has the oldest living, I'll call it centurion population on the planet today, meaning more people reach 100 in Japan than any other country. And they started pulling all their cholesterol numbers. And they found the average Japanese centurion's cholesterol number is over 300. And they don't die of heart disease. It's the lowest heart disease country in the entire world. We in the United States sometimes are trying to get people down into the 180s, 170s. I've seen 160, 138 on a patient. And their doctor was singing praises to them. You're healthy. You're whole. And they're like, why do I have high blood pressure still? Why do I have all these issues? You can actually have low cholesterol and cause more problems than you can having high cholesterol. Did you know more people have heart attacks with low cholesterol than those with high? They're not going to tell you this because they don't want you to realize it's all a made-up lie that was founded in the 1950s by a medical doctor named Ansel Keys, who was hired by the AMA and the FDA to investigate why so many heart attacks happen in the United States. And what he found out is all heart attacks have blocked arteries, so therefore blocked artery disease is the cause of heart disease. And then we went to war on cholesterol. We had to try to get rid of it. Statins were created because we can lower this in your blood if I give you medication. Do statins work lowering cholesterol? Yes, they will do it. Okay, if I took a statin, my cholesterol is going to go down. Does that actually mean I am at less risk for having a heart attack? No, in fact, it actually is raising my risk. So many of you will shake your heads and say yes, but some of you are here today still taking statins, and I'm telling you today, you need to stop. Like, stop. You are causing more problems taking a statin. You're causing more problems taking blood pressure pills. And unfortunately, you guys hear the news at the end of this, or last month, they found that the majority of the major, I'll call it blood pressure medications, are actually causing cancer in the human body because they have a byproduct of this chemical that is a known carcinogen. And when the FDA started investigating, they asked the companies that make HCTZ, imipridine, valsartan, and there's another one, losartan. They said, how long have you guys known about this stuff? And they're like, well, we didn't really know. So we'll go back and investigate. It's been going on for years. There's been a byproduct of the chemical manufacturing in your blood pressure medications. You've been taking it unknowingly, and you might be causing cancer inside your body. It's a big, big deal. Would you agree?
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is show you what actually really causes heart disease, which is going to shock you a little bit. I'm going to help you to understand your numbers. I had someone email me. I don't know if they're here today, but I don't want to call out a name. They sent over their numbers to me saying, I'm coming to your event. Here's my cholesterol numbers. What do you think? And I wrote back and I'm like, you're happy, healthy, and whole. There's nothing wrong with them. And they go, my doctor's trying to cram another statin down my throat. The reason I'm coming to you is I want to figure out how to get off of them. I think it's fantastic. And you guys are going to hear from patients, their testimonials. We have one gentleman who got off blood pressure medication in just a couple weeks. His pressure was so low, he was almost passing out. He had to stop taking his meds because he was in the mid-90s for systolic. We have another gentleman who's going to share the fact that he was on multiple medications, and I coached him through what real health is. I taught him, and he's now completely medication-free, about to retire, and you're going to hear him say, I can't wait to go on all these trips with my wife because I got tons of energy. Like, come on, slide. Okay, so if you're here going, I want to get off the med, that's easy. It's easy. Figure out why you're on it in the first place. Figure out what's causing you to have to take it. If you have high blood pressure, ask the question, why? Okay, and here's the challenge is when you go to your MD, or cardiologist, and they say, here's why you have blood pressure, what do they tell you? Here's why your cholesterol's high, what do they tell you? You're eating too much fat, or it's in your genes, or you're getting older. That's a big one today, right? Or you're not exercising enough, or you're way stressed out, or another one. We have no idea. Insulin resistance. We don't know why it's high. And we don't really have time to figure it out. Here's your solution. Take it. I'll see you in 6 months. And if your numbers come down, they're happy, but that's not the fix for it, okay? So we want to get rid of this skid marks disease because it's big business. All right? Now think about this. Why do you think the powers to be in medicine are not out there on Fox, NBC, ABC, and all this stuff saying, guess what? It's all a lie. You've been told a lie your whole life. Cholesterol doesn't cause heart disease. Here's what causes heart disease. Why don't they do this? Does anybody know? Right there. $1 billion a day in the United States is spent on making people's hearts better when they fail. Okay, look at this. The average person spends $200 to $300 a year on statins if you're taking statins. They're not that expensive, right? $10, $15 copay per month. Okay, blood pressure pills cost a little bit more. Pacemakers cost even more. Plaque removal, right? Let's remove the skid marks, right? This happens all the time. They'll go in an angioplasty, like that little rotor-rooter, you know what I'm talking about? They stick it down through your neck or up through your groin, and they'll go, and then they'll balloon the artery open, they'll try to remove the skid mark, and then they'll say, you're good. No, it's money for them. Stents, bypass, the most expensive heart transplant in the United States was done about 2 years ago, $1.3 million for the surgery. Somebody needed a new heart, and they put the new one in, and even if yours matches mine, what do I still have to take my whole life? Rejection meds, because your heart is not my heart, it's yours regardless, even if we're a perfect match. It's still not mine. Your body's going to say, get rid of it. So that they figured out a way to say, oh, don't get rid of it. Now, is it good that we have these things? Listen, I'm not saying this doesn't save somebody's life or something like that. I mean, thank God we have this, but it's feeding their own system, right? It's big business, lots and lots of money. They don't want you to know about it, right? So today, I'm going to share with you 3 things you can do that will completely reset your health. Cholesterol down, triglycerides down, sugars down, thyroid back on track again, hormones back on track again, weight off, right? 20, 30, 40. I had a patient who was in just last week. She's been with us now almost a year, lost 100 pounds. Never set foot in the gym. Come on, this is huge. If you good, we should light fireworks for that. Okay? So what I want to know about is, are we here just to get some information? I had a couple people say, it's raining, I can't make it. And I'm like, so? I mean, it could be snowing with sleet. I'm still going to be here. Like, there could be an earthquake, I'll still be here, all right? Well, a lot of us will let outside environments dictate what we do. Now, you guys didn't, because you're here, so we should all, like, give each other a round of applause. Maybe let's turn this way and give each other shoulder rubs. Now, those of you in, like, the first 2 rows, can everybody turn around and see that little tiny white thing with the red dot on it right there? Let's all wave to it, right? That's Facebook, and YouTube, and some other live guys. And we have about probably 100 people watching there. Right? So we love you guys. Love that you're here. Okay, some of you aren't in North Carolina. I have people tuning in from California, from Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, etc. They're like, oh my God, I want to watch this. How do I get access? We gave them a link and they're here. So you guys are blessed. And we're going to talk today about how to really tap into why you came today. Okay, now each of you have a different why. I get that. Right? But if it's to get off medication, let's do it. If it's to get your energy back, let's do it. If it's to get your brain back, right? Man, medications play around with your brain, don't they? Like big time. Sometimes you'll see it. Like, have you guys ever walked up to somebody and you're just like, ooh, I can be on it. What did you take, like 3 medications today? It's like they're like this, right? They're just not quite there. It's like there's something not present in them. So I want to help connect you to source. I believe truly that God's the one who brings healing to a human being, and because He's inside of you, you just got to rip it back out of you. You guys have the power to heal yourselves. Don't believe the lie that says you must go to your MD to get well, because that's not the truth. All right? So I'm going to share with you how to make a difference between success and failure in your health. And if I can be transparent, it's real simple. Ready for this? If I give you the information, if I tell you, here's what causes heart disease, and here's what potentially is the reason that you have high blood pressure or cholesterol or you can't lose weight. Information is one thing. You must do what?
Act on it.
Yeah, you have to act on the information. Okay? Now, I could share with you every single thing that's causing your specific problem. You could come up to me and go, my God, this was the best seminar ever. Thank you for doing this. I love it. All right, I'm out of here. And it's like, what? Are you going to go do anything I told you about? Are you going to go home and grab trash bags and pull out the 3 foods that cause heart disease that I'm going to share with you today? Are you guys going to get rid of them? Some of you are going to go, oh, I eat that a lot. It tastes good. You want me to do what? Never touch it again? This is ridiculous. Okay, so your brain will determine your successes with this. Okay? So, out of curiosity, I just want to see what happened. If I told you that you should, let's come up with a new one. I used to talk about butter a lot. Let's get old. Let's do this. If I told you should have 12 eggs a day, every day, for the next 90 days, and your cholesterol reset itself, how many of you would say, wow, really? Or how many of you would go, 12 eggs a day? Isn't that lots of cholesterol that I'm eating? So 12 eggs a day, will the cholesterol go up or down? Actually, it'll make it go down.
Eggs?
Eggs. But what kind of eggs do we have to eat?
Free range.
Real eggs, not man-made fake eggs. And you might say, what's a man-made fake egg? An egg that comes from a chicken that's been genetically modified to lay more eggs than it should. You guys know they're doing that? A chicken that's been genetically modified so that as it eats corn, it produces bigger eggs. Corn that's been genetically modified to give to the chickens to make them fatter, to make them have more eggs, etc., 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 okay? If you eat fake eggs, your cholesterol will do what? It will go up. If you eat real eggs, what does it do? It goes down. Isn't that amazing? So I'm going to say some stuff today, and you're going to say, nobody's ever told me that. I don't think I believe that. High-fat diets are actually really good for your heart. Really good for your heart. Red meat is actually really good for your heart if it is real red meat. You're going to be more careful about meats. You guys know there's synthetically growing meat in a lab right now? Did you hear about this? They're like, oh, it's inhumane to kill a cow, and we don't want to hurt the animals. So what they're doing is the scientists are going, we don't have to kill any cows. We'll just grow their muscles on a dish. Ready? And we'll form it into the shape of a steak. They're doing this. And we'll have people taste it, and they'll say it tastes just the same. And now we don't have to have any more cows. We'll make our own food. That's going to make your body go crazy. Robert Frost has this really famous quote. He says, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled, and it's made all the difference, right? See the less traveled road compared to the one everybody's going down? This is medicine. This is, I believe, cholesterol causes heart disease. This is me over here trying to show you, hey, there's another way. But it's going to be a little weird in the beginning. You're going to think like, I don't know, I don't like this. Okay, but I promise you, if it makes the difference poetically and we can get you into success, then is it worth the challenge? I think it is. I think it is. You're going to have to make that call, okay? So here's what I'm going to do today. Number one, I would like to show you the actual real underlying cause of heart disease. Why does someone's pressure go up even though they're doing everything right? Why does their cholesterol spike up? We're going to go over the actual real underlying cause. I hope you guys are okay if I show you and tell you, number one, your medical doctor is never going to test you for these guys. Do you agree? Ever. You're never going to get a blood test from your MD that shows here's why you're sick. You know what they're going to do? Here's how we can medicate you. Hate to say it. Here's how we can medicate you. These numbers we tested because if they're off, I can give you a drug. Those causes over there that will tell us why you have it, we don't want to go there because A, there's no medications for them, and B, whose responsibility is it for you to engage in fixing the underlying cause? Whose is it? Yours, not theirs. But yet a lot of us will go, oh, I'm waiting to do this. Just somebody tell me what to do. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we're going to go over. We're going to talk about the medications that a lot of us might be taking and how they'll make your condition worse if you don't stop. And again, real quick, if I said today, just show of hands, who's on high blood pressure medication, like right now? Okay, your hand went up first. You're the first person I saw. Okay, just stop. Don't take them anymore. What's going to happen?
I don't know.
Don't know, right? It's okay. Never tried it. Let's role play this for a second. Really, truly, what's going to happen if you don't take your blood pressure medications? Will your blood pressure go up? Okay, because we've been medicating. And does that necessarily mean that you're going to die of a heart attack?
I'm still there.
No.
I threw mine like garbage last week.
Great. Now here's the thing though, right? What we should do now is go, okay, now that I'm no longer medicated and messing it up, figure out why it's high. I'll show you today. There's only 3 things that cause it. You fix those 3 and then what'll happen? It will return to normal by itself. But what happens if you don't stop taking the medication? It will never heal. You get it? It'll never heal because the medication is one of the main causes of heart disease. The very thing that they put you on is the thing that's causing it. Not just high blood pressure causing more high blood pressure, but your sugar pills causing high blood pressure issues. Sometimes even the things we take over the counter from the vitamin shops and places like that will make us sick. So you have to stop medicating yourself first. Second, you have to remove the cause. And third, body heals all the time, as long as there's no interference. And that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. That is the thing that I learned on how to get rid of it. I've worked now, I've been 11 years in practice here in Charlotte. We ran a stat the other day, it's 43,000 people have come to my clinic. Guys, that's huge. This here on one clinic here in Charlotte, 43,000 people. We have about a 95 to 98% success rate with people coming off their meds, finding their underlying cause, having their life changed. It's incredible. I love what I do. I feel like God gifted me with the pain I went through with my health and the fact that nobody could figure out what was going on with me. Short story, because it won't take too long. I was born in the mid-70s, and no one could figure out why I couldn't breathe. You guys, it's a big problem if you can't breathe, right? It's a big, big problem, right? So I went to all these pulmonologists, and they're like, oh, it's easy, you have asthma. That's why you can't breathe, because that's asthma. You can't breathe. They gave me inhaled steroids, right? The Preventols, the what do they call it, inhalins, and all those albuterols and all that stuff. I stuck those things down like they were going out of town. And guess what? It got all these problems in the back of my throat because corticosteroids do what to your immune system? Okay, I would get fungal infections, thrush, I get all kinds of stuff in my mouth. I had bacterial infections, I got sinus infections all the time. My blood pressure started going sky high when I was in my teenage years, so when they put me on blood pressure medications, that messed up the rhythms in my heart. My heart started beating all over the place, my hands were shaking like crazy. I was on a CPAP machine at like 20 years old, couldn't breathe through the night. I had little pumps that I could carry around oxygen, or I had a little one on my thing. I would sleep with the little cannulas out of my nose. When I was about 21 years old, they said, you know, like you might have something worse than asthma. Go figure. And we went to this specialist in Maryland, which is where I lived at the time, and he goes, well, you're not going to believe this, but like, we only just now found out there's a condition called sarcoidosis, which is an autoimmunity. In the 70s, they didn't even know it existed. We think that's what you have. You've just been wrongly diagnosed. And you know, my family and I'm like, woo, you found it. Let's fix it. And guess what he said? There's nothing you can do. It's autoimmune. Your lungs are going to eventually scar over completely. The only solution is more steroids to try to slow it down, or maybe a lung transplant. And they're like, so just get used to this. You're going to have to deal with this. I got into a car accident because I wasn't a very good driver, and and I went to a chiropractor because my neck hurt, and I started getting adjusted, and I started breathing better. And I'm like, this is wild. So I asked the chiropractor, I'm like, how's that possible? I mean, I've been going everywhere. Like, guys, I spent so much time in the hospitals, I want to be a medical doctor. In fact, I went to medical school for 2 years because I thought that was the route God wanted me to go. Pulled me aside. I did cancer research for 2 years. I worked on people with cancer trying to get them better. And he's like, no, wrong one. And then he pulled me into functional medicine and chiropractic, and he's like, now this is the one I want for you. This is huge. Okay? I figured out what was going on with me. I had 3 things I'm going to share with you guys. I fixed them. Boom. I don't use any medications. I don't use any oxygen. I've had complete scans of my lungs done, MRI, CTs, etc. Like, it's gone. We have no idea. We must have misdiagnosed you. Okay, heart disease and cancer is a big deal in the U.S., yes? Like we're winning the gold medal race of all other countries here as well. And every year, you know what happens? Like one of them will be better than the other, right? And like, as in, maybe next year cancer slightly higher, and they'll go, oh my God, cancer overtook heart disease for the first time in the last 3 years. Oh my God, the cancer is so high. Then the next year they'll be like, oh, it's heart disease again. It's the race, neck and neck, cancer, heart disease, cancer, heart disease. Guys, they're both caused by the same thing. That's why they're so high and they're so close to each other. Just so you know, you don't take care of your heart, you're going to get cancer. You don't take care of your cancer, you're having heart disease. They are interlaced. The same causes cause the 2 of them, which is why they're so close. Now, did you guys hear this? This was in 2018, I doubt it, just about last year, in 2018, February 22nd, last year, right? Today's 23rd, yes? This is 1 year ago this came out. This was on CNBC. Who saw this? Anybody? Nobody, right? They never shared it, yet it's on CNBC. The 3rd leading cause of death in the United States is who? Doctors themselves. The medical errors, the mistakes, the medications, the things you take kill almost as many people as cancer and heart disease. But look at what the CDC does. The CDC says, no, it's heart disease, cancer, and unintentional injury, like you accidentally hurt yourself. No, in between the 2 of them should say heart disease, cancer, medicine, and unintentional injuries. Medicine is the 3rd leading cause of death in the U.S. How many of you now are like, oh God, maybe I should stop my medications? Hey, we gotta wake up to this, right? Today, they're doing studies on this. Ready? 25% of kids that are only 5 years old already have Skidmark's disease.
Okay.
They're already showing plaques in the kids' arteries today. 25%. That means 4 children, one of them already has a plaque in their arteries. Is that causing heart disease?
No.
So what I'm going to share with you is it's trying to fix it. Cholesterol is trying to fix the heart disease. It's wild, isn't it? We'll talk about that in a minute. By the time you get to 15 to 19 years old, how many? That means those of you who have teenagers, it's like a flip of a coin that your teenager is already forming the medical signs of heart disease. Okay? By the time you find somebody who actually has it, 100% of the blockages are found in people who didn't even know they had it. Oh, got a blockage in my artery? I have no idea. Can't feel it. That's why they call it the silent widowmaker's disease. As many as 1 out of 3 kids have elevated cholesterol. New recommendations by the American Heart Association is the fix for this is what? How are we going to prevent our kids from having heart attacks if they're already getting cholesterol in their arteries? What are they now doing? No? They're coming up with a kid statin drug. Children's statin. Chewable and liquid that you can just give to them directly. We are so ingrained in this idea that cholesterol causes heart disease that we will sell our souls over for any sort of new drug that will lower cholesterol. Did you guys hear it? Hear the new one? They're like, whoa, cholesterol's not really that good. Let's come up with another drug. They're trying to go after triglycerides now because they're like, people are waking up to cholesterol's not causing it, but they don't know that triglycerides cause heart disease. So we're going to teach them what triglycerides do. We're going to come up with a synthetic fish oil pill. Did you guys hear about this thing? Yeah. So they're now giving people prescription drugs of synthetic fish oil to try to lower your triglycerides because they realize real fish oil does it, but we don't want you taking the cheap stuff that's over the counter at Whole Foods. We want you to take our prescription drugs, so we'll make a synthetic fish oil pill. They're going after this heart disease numbers like it's the end of your life because they know that it is. If you don't fix it, you have every power inside you to correct it in a matter of months. Right? So, I know, right? It's tough. But my doctor said I need to take them. Okay? So what? Who cares? Okay? Do you want to follow your doctor's advice? Or do you want to follow things that I'm going to share with you? Don't just take it from me. Go research. Do it on your own. You guys need to become your own doctors. Would you agree? Hope you do. Okay? Go online. Look this stuff up. Everything I share with you is grounded by science. It was studied and published in the National Library of Medicine. There's even medical doctors writing books telling you what I'm telling you, saying, wake up! But nobody's listening to it. Most people just follow the standard of care. I go in, I get tested, they see 225, they see LDLs of 100, and they say, oh my God, you're going to have a heart attack, here's your prescription, have a nice day, and we just go like this to the CVS to fill it. I don't know why it happens. It's like this infection of our brains. So we can break this pattern because I also hope you guys would agree with me this, right? Let's look at, and I don't necessarily have a graph for it right now, but 1950s when the whole like, oh my God, cholesterol, fat, all of it's causing heart disease, the American government said, we're going to do this. We're going to remove fat from our diets. We're going to no longer recommend salt. We're going to tell you all this stuff to get heart healthy. We're going to hire this medical doctor. He's going to figure out what it is. We're going to come up with drugs, and heart disease went like this, didn't it? Like we have no more heart disease now, right? No, what happened? The moment they did that, what happened?
Skyrocket.
Okay? Yeah. And you're going to see something happen in the 1990s that you don't know about yet, but I'll share with you that actually made it go like this, exactly in the 1990s. One specific thing which I'll share with you, but it's not making it any better. Okay? So if you want to turn it around, all you have to do is pay attention, take some notes, get tested for the cause, which I'll help you with. Let me or someone else coach you through how to fix it, and boom, it will heal by itself. I promise you. I promise you. Okay, so let's do this real quick. Just because I know I'm going to have to take a moment. I know some of you are already going, wait, cholesterol does cause heart disease, Dr. Ernst. If it blocks the artery, there's no blood flow, the heart's going to then get attacked from ischemia, and I'm going to have a heart attack. Because it makes logical sense, doesn't it? See, it's easy for you to grab, that's why they teach it that it's this way. But I hate to say it, they're now finding out that your body is so smart. And again, watch this. Your body is so smart, if this is your heart, which it is, right? And you got vessels coming out, and you got this blood vessel that's feeding blood to the heart, okay? If that artery becomes 50% blocked, okay, meaning if we cut it in half, and we're looking at the flow of the artery, right? It's got all this cholesterol in here, and the reason it's there, and again, I'm going to try to share this with you, is because it's trying to fix the broken artery. So we got to talk about that. It's trying to fix this, not block it and destroy it. Your body will sense that downstream there's 50% less blood flow. So guess what they now know happens? You guys heard about this? Few of you have. Of course you have. Because you and I are like ferocious readers of all things research, right? You know what they found out? Your body in its wisdom will go like this. It'll build something called a collateral artery, physically build its own arteries to go around it, to bypass itself. Your heart will bypass itself as long as you're not taking the medications. Because if you take the medications, it shuts off angiogenesis, which I'm going to show you. Statins specifically stop the creation of new blood vessels by design so that you can't get rid of it. Your body goes like this. Hey, major inflammation, major damage. Shut it off so we can heal it. Bypass yourself so you get the blood flow. And once the underlying damage to the vessel is done, what does this do? And then the artery will open itself back up again. That's what was supposed to happen. That's the original design of your body. It is created to heal itself, but it can't when you take a medication because you believe a lie that that's causing the block. Oh God, I hope you guys see this. Okay? So what you need to understand is this. The cholesterol is there in the artery because the artery is damaged because of inflammation, irritation, and toxicity. Inflammation, irritation, toxicity. Inflammation, irritation, toxicity. Those three things are what cause damage to your heart. It's the same three that cause damage to your thyroid. It's the same three that cause damage to your kidneys. It's the same three that gives you acid reflux. It's the same three that makes you not lose weight. It's the same three that gives you headaches. It's the same three for everything. Inflammation, irritation, and toxicity. So what do we need to test? We need to test how inflamed are you. We need to test the interference, and we need to test the, I lost the last one, toxicity, sorry. I was trying to think about 8 things at once, I couldn't do it. Ready? Inflammation, irritation, toxicity. If you get rid of whatever your underlying cause is, then your body will say, okay, now I can heal this. Now watch this, ready? Because this is blocked up by itself, it's supposed to, will the pressure of your system increase or decrease as a result while it's repairing itself? During repair, will pressure go up or down? Up. You know why it goes up? It's trying to push repair materials to the area that it needs. When you're sick, your pressure goes up because your body's like, whoa, you need more nutrients in this part of your body. Push them there. Push. So the pressure increases as a result of you trying to heal yourself. But in the stupidity of medicine, just like if you have a high fever, we now know that's not a bad thing, right? You guys know that? You're supposed to have high fevers. We haven't learned yet, you're supposed to have high blood pressure if you're sick. Oh God, I hope you see this. You're supposed to have high blood pressure if you're sick. Are you supposed to have high blood pressure if you're being chased by a lion and you're running for half a mile? Yes! High blood pressure can be a good thing, but for a temporary period. And then the cause, the lion who's chasing me, making me run, making my pressure goes up, when that leaves, what happens? My body will reset. Now please listen. If you have high blood pressure and you're wondering why is that, by the way, you have high blood pressure and you're wondering why it hasn't gone away, it's because you haven't healed yet. If you heal, it will go away. Your cholesterol will reset, your sugars will reset, everything resets. Every action has a reaction. Every single elevation, blood pressure, cholesterol, sugars, triglycerides, is because you have a deficiency that you have not identified, and the deficiencies are these 3. Are you guys okay with this? Okay, so here we go. Ready? Number 1, you need to stop right now. Okay, legally I'm not supposed to tell you this, but who cares? I don't care. They'll come after you. You are not supposed to take statins, ever. Even if your cholesterol is 385 and you're like, I'm going to die of a heart attack. No, you're not. They've proven this, you're not. Your cholesterol can go up to 500 and you're still not going to have a heart attack. Okay, it's a lie that you've been told. If you're taking a statin, could somebody be like, someone real quick? I want to see how many people could like throw them in the trash when they get home today. But with some help, ready? You've got to stop. Number 1, they found out statins themselves are causing that to happen. They cause the inability for you to create your collateral arteries. They make you have more heart disease. Physically. Number 2, statins actually elevate your insulin. And watch this. The now understanding of heart disease is that it's your sugars and your insulin that's causing the irritation, the inflammation. How high your blood sugar is and how high your insulin is what's creating the irritation and the damage in your entire body. So if I take a drug that knowingly raises my insulin, how many of you have had your insulin tested by your medical doctor? Real quick, like actual insulin number. Fasting insulin, not sugars, not A1C. Only one of you has. That's the number 1 test you should get run regularly to figure out where you're at. Your insulin levels will tell us how much inflammation you have in your body. Why does a medical doctor not test insulin levels? Can I share this with you guys? They are always what? High. And that will violate what they teach you, which is high insulin should mean low blood sugar. But you have high blood sugar and high insulin, and they don't want you to know that, because if you ask them, wait, doctor, if my insulin's high, shouldn't my sugars be low because insulin pushes sugar into the cells? And they'll say, shut up, get out of here. I can't answer that question for you right now because I don't even know how to answer that. It doesn't make any sense to me. We don't know what to do about it. They physically will not test it because there's nothing to do about it. Insulin will directly, not only do that, raise your blood pressure. They have done studies on this and found people who have high blood pressure have high insulin, but you never get tested for it, so you never know you have it. So if you can lower your insulin levels, what will happen to your blood pressure? It goes down. Insulin also makes you age faster. Physically, your internal environment, your clock goes quicker. You ever seen somebody who is only 40 years old but they look like they're 60?
Yeah.
High insulin, guaranteed. If you want to look like you're 40 when you are 60, what should you do? Lower your insulin. Get your insulin under control. How do we do that? Somebody tell me, how do we lower our insulin?
That's hard.
We got to start fasting, number one. We got to fasting. Number two, we have to stop eating things that spike insulin, sugars. This is going to be tough for some of you. Okay, if you're taking a medication, absolutely no fruit, no colored vegetables. So carrots, tomatoes, anything that's sweet. You know the difference between a red pepper and a green pepper? The red is sweet and the green is bitter. There's less sugar in green than colored vegetables. Are vegetables good for us? Yes, but not when you're sick. If they have high sugar. Fruits, all fruits, 100% fruits out. I thought an apple a day keeps the doctor away. No, an apple a day elevates insulin, elevates blood sugar, and will invite you to the doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to learn what makes insulin go up, which I'll share with you. If you get your insulin under control, not only will you lose a tremendous amount of weight, but you'll decrease your inflammation, and your body will clean its clogs out, and your cholesterol will go to normal, and your doctor will say, how'd you do this? How'd you do this? How'd you get off meds and reset yourself? And you'll tell them, and they'll go, oh, no, I don't want to know about that. I've had it happen. I've literally had it happen. We talked about this. The doctors are literally ignorant. They don't want to know what you did, but they'll say, well, keep doing what you're doing because it must be working. All right? So, all statin drugs do this. They block an enzyme called HMG-CoA. If you want to write it down, you can. If you don't, okay, great. HMG-CoA. Your brain is made of cholesterol by volume. 60% of your brain's cholesterol. Ready? Watch. If I take a statin and I lower my cholesterol, I'm also lowering my brain function. Good idea or bad idea?
Bad.
Why is it such a bad idea? Think about it. Your brain does
Everything.
You know why we're so foggy and forgetful? We can't remember our kids' names, stuff like this? It's because statins will literally rip the cholesterol out of your mind. As you lose cholesterol, you lose your memory, you lose your focus, you lose your attention. They're showing it's the leading cause of depression. Guys, is depression getting worse in the US?
Yes.
Massively worse. Why? Everyone takes a statin when their cholesterols are too high. It's directly caused. Second, statins directly block a specific nutrient called CoQ10. You cannot live without CoQ10. CoQ10 gives you energy, focus, attention. It reduces the very thing that causes heart disease. Why do you think a statin drug would want to reduce or increase the inflammation? Because it will make the arteries more damaged, which makes more cholesterol show up, which makes you have to take more of their drug. Anybody ever start a statin and then they say, oh, we need to increase your dosage? No, they're doing it. They're causing it. They're making it happen. Okay, watch this. For those of you who are nerdy and sciencey like me. Anybody like that? I know we have one sitting here. Anybody else who really likes to go deep? Okay, I'm going to shock your world with this. It's a graphical presentation of a human cell and the cholesterol pathways. I don't want to get a human cell, like the cells of your body, right? Ready for this?
Yeah, you're going.
Your body converts something from sugars, fats, and proteins into a molecule called acetyl-CoA. I'm only going to show this because you're going to understand this. Acetyl-CoA must be converted into something called HMG-CoA. What's the enzyme that it blocks? Where did it go? HMG, oh, I didn't write it down. Statins block HMG-CoA enzyme. They block the ability for your sugars, fats, and proteins to be turned into cholesterol. That's how they lower cholesterol. They block an enzyme so your sugars, fats, and proteins you eat won't be turned into cholesterol. Now you'll think, that sounds like a great idea, because if I lower my cholesterol, I'm going to increase my heart health. What else does cholesterol do for us? Does anybody know? You guys know?
Cell walls.
Oh, the cell wall membranes are made of cholesterol. Do you want toxins to come out of the cell wall? Do you want oxygen and nutrition to go into your cells? If you don't have cholesterol in here, guess what? It's like a rigid gate. Nothing can go in and nothing can come out, so the cell becomes sick. Second, precursors for cholesterol regulate an enzyme called cytochrome P53, which is a known anti-carcinogen, anti-cancer. But if I block it here, I don't get the precursor for anti-cancer. If I block it here, I don't get the ability to make new tissues that will increase blood flow. If I block it here, I increase COX-2 pathways. You guys know what a COX inhibitor is? It's an anti-inflammatory. It's a drug to shut down inflammation. Your body should already be shutting down inflammation if you can convert sugars, fats, and proteins into cholesterol. Cholesterol is anti-inflammatory, healing, cleansing, and it makes all your hormones. If I take a statin, I don't get my hormones, I don't get my anti-cancer properties, I create more inflammation, which creates the issue, which makes me have to take more, and I shut off blood flow to areas of my body like my heart, so I can't get well. What is the number one thing you should stop taking today if you're taking it? Like, guaranteed. Stop. You don't need them to be well. But now that you stop, what's going to happen? This pathway is going to start turning on, and your cholesterol is going to do what? And you're going to freak out unless you understand what I just told you. Don't panic. There's nothing wrong with your cholesterol going up. In fact, you want it. Because once it goes up, all this turns on, and then your body will heal, and then what will happen naturally? It will return back to normal. You got to ride the wave. You got to ride the wave. It's okay. If you don't believe me in this, because I know sometimes people look at me and they're like, no, yeah. You don't understand. Like, I've lived my whole life with my doctors telling me, You're making this up, whatever. Okay, go get this book. It's written by a very famous, it's not the same Sinatra, it's Frank Sinatra. Stephen Sinatra, MD, right? Johnny Bowden, PhD, is a scientist, a researcher. They wrote a book showing and breaking the entire system down. All of it's in there, from Ansel Keys to the government to the payoffs.
Wow.
You ready for this? It gets even worse. The sugar industry, which used to be called the Sugar Foundation of the United States in 1943, paid Harvard. They paid them. Because Harvard ran a study and said, God, saturated fat is what's creating heart disease. But the saturated fat is there because sugar and insulin cause inflammation to the artery walls, and they invite cholesterol to show up. Harvard scientists proved that sugar and insulin causing heart disease, and the American Heart Association and the Sugar Association said, hey, here's $50,000. This is back in the 40s. To erase the word sugar and put the word fat instead, please. All the Harvard doctors took it. They all got thousands and thousands of dollars. And that one research article is what the American Medical Association used to say fat's going to give you a heart attack. It's all in the book, all of it. So if you don't believe me, read this and you will never take a statin ever again. You'll figure out how to reduce your inflammation, irritation, toxicity, which I'll show you, and your blood will go right back to that. You can actually unclog your own arteries. You can do it yourself. It's amazing. But again, no one is going to tell you how to do it because that's medicine for you. Okay, this is a quote from the book. I like it. Ready? If you blame cholesterol for heart disease, it's like blaming the firemen for the fire that they're trying to put out. That's what it's equivalent to. Why would you blame a fireman for coming to your house to put your fire out? Saying they're the ones who caused the fire. It's ridiculous. But that's what we do. Every day we say cholesterol is causing heart disease. Cholesterol is causing heart disease. No, cholesterol is fixing your heart disease. All right? This is the lady who emailed me and said, please help, Dr. Arntz, I'm coming to your seminar. In fact, not only am I coming, but I want to become a patient of yours. Ready? She goes, I was at my doctor and they said my total cholesterol is 243, my LDLs are 129, my HDLs are 65, my triglycerides are 199. And she goes, they're screaming and yelling at me that I need to take a statin. I was on them before, I had a bad reaction. My muscles swelled up all over. No, we have no other option. You're going to have a heart attack. You need to be on a statin. She's literally allergic to statins, reacts to them, and they're like, it doesn't matter. We'll deal with the allergy. You must take a statin. And then she says, what do you think? Okay, now I'm going to teach you guys something. These numbers mean absolutely nothing. In fact, half of them are made up so that they can prescribe a medication to you as far as the relative values. Right now, what is your total cholesterol supposed to be according to medicine? Somebody tell me.
Less
Less than 200. Okay, did you know 55 years ago it was less than 250? So why did the number change? So they ran out of people who hit the capacity for them to prescribe the medication to, so they said we need to tighten it down. Did you know right now that 120/80 is considered pre-hypertensive? They want you under 120/80 because we're not prescribing enough high blood pressure medications. If I lower it, if I said 115/75, otherwise you have high blood pressure, what happens? I open up hundreds of millions of people who need to now take a drug. Every year the numbers go down slightly to make it harder and harder and harder for you to pass the test. So you have to take more meds, right? Watch. Here's what you should write down, or take a picture of this, because here's the secret. This is the answer right here. Okay, if your total cholesterol divided by your HDL is less than 3.5, you are completely 100% fine at literally next to no risk for having a heart attack. You have to divide these numbers by themselves to get relative values. Total cholesterol by HDL, hers is what? 3.75. Is that under 3.5? It's really close, so it'll say you're pretty good. Okay, your LDL, your supposed sticky bad ones, which there's no such thing as this. It's all a big made-up lie. The HDL divided by the LDLs should be around under 2. Is hers under 2? Yeah, so it's really good. Okay, your triglycerides, how much fat you have in your blood, divided by your good cholesterols, should be less than 2. Is she close? Not bad, she's pretty good. So according to functional medicine, should she take a statin drug? Absolutely not. According to medicine, what should she do? Probably take 4 of them. Okay? The secret is in knowing your numbers and knowing the truth behind what they mean, and recognizing that these are actually okay. So I sent her an email. I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with these. In fact, you're okay. But we definitely need to chat because there's a borderline elevation. I'm looking at, you're not converting your fats properly. That should be in like the 50s. I'm all right with this. That tells me you're not burning fat. That tells me you're high on sugars. That tells me your insulin's high. That tells me you're developing disease. And she goes, I'm watching on Facebook, and I'm going to come into your office. I love it. Okay, you guys have the power to do this. More books. The Great Cholesterol Con. The Big Lie About Cholesterol. The Great Cholesterol Lie, Why Inflammation is the Real Cause of Heart Disease. Doctors, researchers, doctors. Guys, it's out there. It's just no one's going to tell you about it. Because if you became your own doctor, if everyone did it, we would shut down a $365 billion arm called cardiology. That's one arm. Just cardiology. $365 billion. If we want to take down the entire medicine, we're going to have to do all of it, right? We got to do endocrinology. We have to do reproductive. We have to do all of it. But you guys could do all of that for yourselves. It's that simple. Okay, ready? Number one thing, if you're swallowing, that is actually increasing your inflammation, are man-made processed vegetable oils. Now, seriously though, how many times do you see them say with commercials that these things are heart healthy? Like literally on the bottle. Like, it's got no cholesterol, it's completely healthy for your heart. 100% lie. Corn and corn oil is literally like drinking inflammation. Canola and canola oil is like drinking inflammation on steroids. Wesson and Wesson oils and all this other stuff is literally like pouring gasoline onto a fire that's already burning in your body called disease. You feed disease when you eat vegetable oils. But you think they're vegetables, and an oil from a vegetable should be good because vegetables are good, so therefore that's why I'm going to use vegetable oils. Right? So most people say. Yet you don't do the research and realize that they actually make you increase the oxidation of your cholesterol. Now here's the difference. When LDL cholesterol plaques up in an artery, it is not oxidized, meaning it's not inflamed, irritated, it's not rusted, it's not missing an electron. Okay? LDL cholesterol sits here to try to plug the holes, because when your arteries are inflamed, what do? They leak. So you're leaking blood tissues, you're leaking inflammatory processes, you're leaking blood physically into your heart cavity. So cholesterol is sticky, so it goes around and says, okay, seal that hole, seal that hole, seal that hole. The arteries will grow around it to try to decrease the blood flow so you don't leak, and then you'll see the plaque show up. Now if your doctor looks at it, they're going to go, you're going to have a heart attack. And they'll go in and they'll roto-rooter it all out, and that'll make it worse. You guys see it? Or they'll put you on a statin, which will not allow you to create the collateral arteries, and that will increase the oxidation of the cholesterol. It's called atherosclerosis, hardening of your arteries. This stuff has been shown to physically create it. It triggers a gene which makes your white blood cells attack the LDL and turn them into oxidized plaque. Vegetable oils. The vegetable oils are in. If you open up a box and you eat food, it's got vegetable oils in it, pretty much guaranteed. It's in a box. it's been wrapped in some sort of plastic, and you go, and then you open this toxic thing and you throw it inside and you go, deep, 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 deep. It's got vegetable oils in it. So be really, really careful. There's a medical doctor who used to be a cardiologist, would do heart surgeries, very famous, who said, you know what, I'm noticing a correlation here. There's high sugars, lots of my patients are diabetics. I wonder if there's a connection between sugar and heart disease. And now he's now, this is new, in like the 2016, 2017. He starts doing his own research, published a couple things in some magazines, and he says inflammation is the actual underlying cause of heart disease, and diabetes, and Alzheimer's, and cognitive issues, and heart attacks, and everything, and everything. And he founded something called the Wolfson Integrative Cardiology Clinic in Arizona. You can go there right now if you want to. He's a cardiologist who will say this: we're not going to do surgery on your heart. Instead, we're going to clean it out. We're going to decrease the inflammation. We're going to get rid of the interference of what's going on, and we're going to detox your heart. I went to his website last night. New patient consult, $1,700, cash or credit card only, not covered by insurance. He has a wait list of over 2 years long.
Wow.
Now you guys can do it by yourself. You don't need to go to Arizona and pay $1,700. Get a couple tests done that I'm going to show you today. Let me review through them if you want, and I'll just go, here's what you do. And you go do it, and you're going to heal by yourself. Okay? It's becoming more and more and more aware. He was on Dr. Oz not that long ago. You should Google it. Type his name in, type Dr. Oz in, and you're going to see them start talking about how insulin and sugar causes heart disease. Okay, so how do we determine if we have inflammation, interference, or toxicity? Okay, go to the sheet that's in your book or your packet that looks like a stool. You'll see it looks like this. What I want you to do is write down, for example, my heart. Maybe you have high blood pressure. Write down high blood pressure. Maybe you're on statins and you want to lower your cholesterol. Write down cholesterol. Maybe you're here today and you're like, I don't have any of those, but I have fatigue. Write down fatigue. My kidneys aren't working. Write down kidneys. My thyroid, my sugars, my diabetes. Whatever you're looking to get well in your life, my energy, etc., it's always going to be based upon 3 individual things: interference, inflammation, and toxicity. And inflammation is mostly because of what we eat. Our digestive system creates the inflammatory process. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So these are the 3 foundations of why you're not getting well. Now watch this, right? When someone has high blood pressure and they want to get better by themselves, what do they usually do? Like if you didn't want to go see anybody and you want to fix your own blood pressure, what would you guys do? Start doing what? Exercising. You would start, I heard cutting back salt. Somebody said that. Actually, that's the worst thing to do, believe it or not. You need more salt. I'll show you.
Thank you.
And what else would you do? You would start eating right. But eating right means eating how? Low fat or high fat?
High fat.
Well, for some of you, you said low fat. For some of you, wouldn't you say, well, I would want to eat lots of whole grains and nuts and seeds and lots of fruits and vegetables. I'll pull up the USDA guidelines from USDA.gov and I'll look at the My Plate. I'll drink milk like they say I'm supposed to, right? Is that what you would do? Yeah. Most people will. Now, if you're shaking your head, it's because I've at least planted a seed where you're going, no, I heard you once say don't do that. All right? How many of these things does exercise affect? Actually, it affects none of them. In fact, exercise can make you more toxic. If you're toxic and you lose 5 pounds and you didn't get rid of your toxicity, your thinner you is now more toxic by volume. So what'll happen? You'll get sick because of you working out. Remember Angela said I ran 6 to 7 miles multiple times a week? I was like, you gotta stop running right now. No more running. It was breaking her heart. She's like, I love running. I'm like, well, it's killing you. Physically, stop running. Okay, some of you should be like jumping up for joy. Like, I don't have to go to the gym anymore. Yes!
Yeah.
Nothing against working out. You should work out when you're healthy, not when you're sick. But see, people who are sick work out to get healthy. It's not the way to do it. You're doing it backwards. Okay, second, when you start eating well, don't you do like, I'll do whole wheat instead of what I used to eat. Come on, trust me. You guys are doing it. I'll eat a wrap instead of bread because that's healthier. It's just as bad. All of it's just as bad. Okay? So neurological digestive toxicity. What I'm going to do before you guys leave today is I'm going to show you how to know, do you have this? How inflamed is this? And what your toxin levels are. And show you how to reduce them. Are we okay with this?
Yeah.
Okay, so ready? A very famous doctor back in the day, Hippocrates, who's the father of modern medicine. You guys know the Hippocratic Oath that MDs swear by, which says, I will do no harm. Go figure, right? I will do no harm when I prescribe you this medication that's going to cause you more harm. But I will do no harm. Okay? This guy said the spine houses the cause of disease. So I thought, let's try to just investigate what does he mean by this. Because this guy was right. He was way ahead of his time. So the spine is the bones that surround your spinal cord, and hopefully you guys know your brain is not wireless. Correct?
Yeah.
We live in an age where everything's wireless. But you have a wire that runs right down the center of you, and you have literally hundreds of millions of wires that come out of your center core, your spine, to make every single part of you work. Your heart could not beat unless a signal from your brain went down the spinal cord and over the nerve to make it beat. You can't breathe, you can't think, you can't even move if your spine isn't working. Now tell me if you guys would agree with this. Every organ in your body must then be connected to your spine.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah.
So does it make sense if you have interference, inflammation, or neurotoxicities that you could affect how your heart receives a signal from your brain on what to do? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Okay? Your heart is like a fuse box. It's like the downstream effect, okay? Let's use a washing machine as an analogy. If you went to your washing machine, you open it up, and you push the power button and nothing happens, and then you look in the back and you go, well, it's plugged in, and you look around and you're like, okay, all of everything else is on, what would you do? Check the fuse. So if you went out and you saw this, you would go, I got it. I know why it's not working. And what would you do? You would adjust it. Be careful. You would adjust it. You would go like this. And then all of a sudden you would reconnect the power, you would go inside, and now your washing machine is doing what? Working. Was there anything wrong with the washing machine? Okay, watch. When your kidney is not filtering properly and your doctor says you have kidney disease, is that the truth? No. It's the nerve is not connecting properly to the kidney, telling the kidney what to do, or the kidney's toxic, or it has inflammation inside of it. If your thyroid is not secreting enough thyroid hormones, is that because of a genetic disorder? Well, if it was, you would have had it since birth, not at 35. Okay, so the nerves to the thyroid come out of the neck. Your spine is like your fuse box. If your spine is out of alignment, then you disconnect the nerve. Now the difference is, we're not all on or all off, thank God, right? If you accidentally slept incorrectly and you hit your heart nerve and you turned it off, you would not wake up. So thank God. But a lot of you have 20, 30, 40, 60, 80% blockage. It would be like a dimmer. If I went over there and I dimmed the lights by 50%, would they still be on? Yes, but you would say, dark in here.
Yeah.
And you would say, I don't feel right. You would say, my energy's low. You would say, what do I need to do to fix it? And you would say, what supplement should I take? What energy drink should I drink? And I'm going to go, forget that. Figure out why the energy's low. Go to the neurological pathways, get an adjustment, clear your spine out, and have your energy come back. Those of you who've been to a chiropractor before and you've gotten a real chiropractic adjustment, be careful. A real one, not the fake ones. You know what I'm talking about? Here's a fake one. Where do you hurt? Just roll with me real quick. Okay, in your neck? Okay, lay down. Let me feel stuff. Ooh, you feel that? You feel that? Can you feel any more? No? Okay, you're good. That's fake chiropractic, guys. A, you need x-rays to determine where it's at, how much interference there is. B, there's no way that one adjustment is going to completely reset your spine. Now, if you say, but I felt better, but it never came back, that's okay. But you can't feel nerve damage. And you have 80 to 90% blockage of an artery to your heart, not feeling.
Oh, yeah.
And you have 80 to 90% of blockage of a nerve in your neck, not feeling. You can. But if the nerve is blocked, your organs will feel it, and you'll go, is that why I'm always tired all the time? Is that why my system isn't working? So your heart is directly connected by two areas. Write this down, especially those of you who have heart issues. Ready? Number one, your vagus nerve. It comes right off your brain stem right here. The vagus nerve comes right out of the back of your skull, right about your hairline. You have a left one, you have a right one. It's just behind your ears. And that nerve tells your heart to slow down when it's working properly. Now watch this. Ready? If you have a slight deviation in your skull, scoliosis, if you have pressure on the nerves that go to your heart to slow it down, will the slowing signal increase or decrease? I'm pinching the nerve that should slow the heart down, so now the heart will do what? It'll go faster. What will happen to your blood pressure? Goes up. Can you have neurological cause of elevated high blood pressure? Absolutely. You know what? University of Chicago said, let's test this theory that the chiropractors say is true. So they did this years ago, 2007. A medical doctor named Dr. George Barkis said, let's figure this thing out. Let's So they took a bunch of people, 50 people that had high blood pressure. They x-rayed them. I'm going to show you kind of what they're looking for in an x-ray in a second. And they said, let's see if these chiropractors are right. So they did a bunch of x-rays, and they said, look at this. Every single one of them that has high blood pressure has a misaligned atlas vertebrae. I'll show you the misalignments. So they brought in some chiropractors. They broke them into 2 groups. They put 25 people through real chiropractic where they x-rayed, they adjusted, and they re-x-rayed to confirm the atlas was reset. And then they had some others over here that they actually just played around. They just went like, we don't do this, and we'll see what happens. It's a sham adjustment. Watch this. 14 millimeters of mercury drop in systolic pressure on the average with the people who got adjusted properly. 8 millimeter drop in diastolic. What did the doctor say? It would require 2 blood pressure medications for us to pull that off medically.
Wow.
And how long did it last? 8 weeks. 50% of them 8 weeks later still had normal blood pressure. 1 to their neck to reset their atlas, and their blood pressure reset itself. Why? If you remove neurological interference, the heart is reconnected. It no longer is not losing its slow down signal, and everything resets. What was the x-rays they did to look? From the side in your neck, your vagus nerve comes out right there. So this is normal, just so you guys know, okay? When we look at someone who's sitting down, looking straight, we will look right here and see if it's open. Can you guys see how there's a lot of space between these 2 bones? There's your skull. Here's the atlas. So the brainstem's going right through here. It needs to be somewhere close to 18 degrees when we measure the angle right here. That's 16 out of 18, which is like 95, 96% normal, okay? So we're looking here. Second, we look, have you open your mouth real wide, and we shine an x-ray right through your teeth, and we're looking at the actual atlas, the first bone right here. Now, I know it's tough, right? See the teeth?
Yep.
See this huge bone that looks like the airplane from Independence Day movie? You know what I'm talking about? Okay, see the 2 bones floating on either side? What's the space like right here and here? Even. What's going on here? Ah. Now you guys tell me. You're not even a medical doctor. Is that a nerve that's being pinched in someone's neck if their spine went? And look at the increased space here. This is your left, this is your right. So which nerve is being compressed? Which one?
The left.
The left. Okay, now you have both left and right sides. So guess what they said to me? Well, my ears ring like crazy over here. This eye always twitches. This hand is numb, and I have high blood pressure. I said, it's all on your left? All of it. Everything's on your left. Yeah. Even my left foot, my left toes, my left hip, my left back. Wow. Serious. Because it's up at the top. So what we do is this. We take the x-ray. We do the adjustment. We retake the x-ray. And we want to see that it did something like this. Because if it did, then I can teach you how to keep it here, sustain it, and you will heal by yourselves. Secondly, remember I showed you that it needs to be open. So what's going on in this gentleman who came in to see me? It pinched? Like it's smashed. Right? Smashed. Would you agree? Like look how close. I mean, we're talking like that's probably the width of 2 human hairs right there. His skull is at a 50-degree angle. It's supposed to be 18. His atlas is at 23 degrees. It's like, bleh. And he's going, is that why I have high blood pressure? Well, that's more than just that. That's why everything going on with your health is. This x-ray we took in May of 2017, here he is after a couple months of treatment. Look at that. Now, real quick, who's been a chiropractor before? Okay. How many of you are like, oh, do you have to do that, like cracking the neck thing? Like, is there any way you can not do that? Some of you. Now, some of you who are like, no. Like, I like that. Like, it feels really good because you feel the release of the pressure. If you go to a chiropractor and you hear this, and they didn't confirm that it did the right thing, it's going to hurt, you're going to hate it, you're never going to do it again. But if you go to a chiropractor who actually sets it properly, you're going to feel like you're floating on cloud 9, like you're euphoria and talking with God. That's the only way I can describe it. I had one patient, literally, we adjusted her, and she said, I think I saw Jesus. I'm not kidding. You open this, and flow goes through. Guys, he also had a version of Parkinson's disease. Couldn't stop moving, high blood pressure, everything else. Massive neurological issues. Out of his walker completely. You guys have seen him. Out of his walker completely. Uses little tiny cane. Beautiful gentleman. Loves life now. Massively medicated. Written off. Been everywhere. Mayo, Duke, Johns Hopkins. Comes to a chiropractic clinic that also does functional medicine. I showed him how to heal himself, and he went, thank you. Okay, you guys can do this. You can do this. All right? Here's some other examples. Is it open? Yes. But what about down through here? And there's no curve in the neck, right? Remember how it's supposed to be curved like this? Right? Now watch. The further down you go, we get down in through here, we're now hitting the bottom heart nerves. Remember how I said there's the vagus nerve at the top? but you also have nerves in the bottom. The bottom nerves speed the heart up. They make it go faster. So if you compress the nerves that are at the bottom, then what happens is you lose the ability to make your heart go quicker when it needs to. And so what will your pressure do if your heart's not fast enough? It'll also go up. Okay? It's always going to compensate to try to fix the interference. Some of you have necks that look like this, but you don't even know it because you can't feel this. This was Angela's x-rays when I first met her. She's been going to a chiropractor for years. And I'm like, it's like literally 83% damage to your spine. 83% is unacceptable to me. And I told her, we're going to fix this. We're going to do it. I see people that come in and have negative necks. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Massive car accident, damage to her neck. She went to a personal injury chiropractor. And when I asked her, how'd they adjust you? She goes, well, they laid me on this little thing. Just heard this? And it goes like this. Okay? And then they put these pads on my neck. And it was like this tingly thing, like this little device, looked like a pager. And it went zzz, zzz, zzz. And then they like took me in this room and they stretched me side to side. And they put me on this thing that I had to like, move my arms. And then I left. And I was like, oh my God, you've never been adjusted. She goes, that's an adjustment. I'm like, well, what did they do to your neck? How did they fix this? Well, they didn't. That's why you have all these problems, right? I know it's weird, but we get massive miracles that take place in our office because we can reset the neurology. And we have the ability to find it, detect it, measure it, score it, adjust you once, find it, detect it, measure it, score it. And if we see 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% improvement, I know how long it's going to take for you to heal it and what you need to do that. It's amazing. This is Barbara Lisa, who came to one of my events because she had high blood pressure. And we started working with her. She had not only lost 30 pounds, got off all her blood pressure medications, and she goes, oh, by the way, all the sciatic I had also went away, Dr. Ernst. It's like a silent miracle. Thank you. Okay? This is what your low back should look like from the front. And tell me if you guys would agree, are your kidneys important for your blood pressure and your heart health?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely, right? Kidneys regulate fluids. If your kidneys can't release the fluids that you need to, your volume will go up, and what will that do to your blood pressure? As your blood pressure goes up, your body will increase its cholesterol production to try to protect the arteries from the damage. So your cholesterol will also go up because of your kidneys. Also, your kidneys are controlled by the nerves that come out of these spots in your spine. So when we look at the spine from the front, it should be completely straight. We can measure, using digital x-rays, the actual distance in space, rotations. Like, it's really cool. I get 3D almost analysis of your spine and figure out what's going on. So I see people sometimes that will come to me like this. I have no back pain, Dr. Ernst, but I have high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, thyroid cancers, you name it. Can you help me? And I say, my guy, like, you seriously don't feel this? And you know what? No. Didn't even know she had scoliosis at all. Because why would you go to a doctor and complain about your back if it didn't hurt? Why would they take an x-ray if there's no pain? They won't. Why will chiropractors sometimes even say, we don't need an x-ray for you. I can feel this. I can see it. No, they can't. It's not possible. You have to look at an x-ray. Now, if I see this, I get to say what? Oh, look at the gut. Leaking. We'll talk about that in a second. Are the kidneys receiving proper signals? No. Which kidney's worse? The one on the right or the one on the left? Both of them. This one's being compressed, so it's losing function. These nerves are irritated, so it's increasing function to try to compensate for that. They're both being affected. You guys understand this? Because you can't feel this unless you do what? You've got to take an x-ray. It has to be done properly. It's not a medical x-ray. Again, similar thing. Now watch this. She came to my diabetic event that we did about a year or so ago and said, Dr. Ernst, I've heard you, I've been listening to your radio show for years. I finally have decided I'm going to do this. You said I need to take action. I've always listened. I've paid attention. I've taken notes, but I never did anything with it. She goes, I'm sick of doing that. I want to meet with you. I'm coming in. So I met with her and I said, well, let's figure out why you have diabetes. Okay, see how the spine is bent and bent and bent? Okay, so we started adjusting her. Guys, that's like 4 weeks. Is that straighter? Oh, heck yes. She went from 7.1 A1C, which is measuring how bad your diabetes is, to 5.4 in literally just a couple months. And her doctor said that's not physically possible. It doesn't happen that way. A1C takes 120 days to drop. It's not been 121 days. The lab must have made a mistake. This is not your blood work. For fear of HIPAA violation, we're going to run this again. And then they confirmed that it was this way. She got off all of her medications. Her blood pressure dropped drastically. She lost 35 pounds. This is what I'm talking about I help people to do. And that was just by moving her spine. Imagine what happens when we clean out the gut and we work on toxicities. So it's like trilogy effect, okay? So Mike here would like to share something with you. He couldn't come today. I asked him if he'd share his testimony, but you guys gotta hear this. On blood pressure medications, on cholesterol drugs, struggling to lose weight, we started working. Listen to what he says. And I want you to pay attention. How low did his blood pressure go? Okay, ready?
Hi, my name is Mike, and I wanted to give you a testimony of our treatment with Dr. Ernst. About a year ago or so, this is mid-February of 2019, we went to a seminar with Dr. Ernst, and we'd heard him on radio, and my interest was in coming off of blood pressure medicine. His advertising about blood pressure, sugar diabetes, different things, asking if we were interested in an alternative treatment. So we started going to Dr. Ernst, and within a few weeks, my blood pressure started coming down pretty drastically. So at the first of the month, I think it was in April, I started monitoring and keeping track, and my blood pressure went down, and I reduced it to half a dosage, and within 2 or 3 weeks, one day my blood pressure was 90-something over 65. So I decided then that it was time to come off of blood pressure medicine. As I was on the medication, I was sluggish all the time. I was lethargic. Every time I sit down, I wanted to go to sleep. And so that was my target goal. In the meantime, I lost 20 pounds off of the whole process of the nutrition and the adjustments. It really helped me line my body. Also, I learned in the last few weeks that one of the blood pressure medications I was on was one of 3 or 4 that was actually cancer causing. So it's been a win-win-win. I came off medication, my blood pressure went down, and I also learned what the natural blood pressure was for me. 120 over 80 is not natural, normal for everybody. And I also stopped putting a cancer-causing agent in my body. So I strongly advise you to look at the program from front to end, give it serious consideration, because my wife and I both have had really great success with the treatments from Dr. Ernst. Thanks for your time.
So how low did it go? You guys remember? 90 over 60. Why did it go so low though? He was still taking his medication. So if you fix the underlying cause, your pressures will start to reset. If you have healthy blood pressure and you take a blood pressure drug, you'll bottom out. He was taking amlodipine, which had been FDA recalled, didn't even know his drug was part of the recall, and he goes, oh my God, I've been on that thing for years. Thank you for helping me, all right? So your spine connects not just blood supply to your whole body, your cheeks, your nose, your thyroid, but your heart, your lungs, your gallbladder. You could have any health issue, throw anything out you want at me, and I'll guarantee you I can connect the dots on where is that to your spine. Every single square inch is intercontrolled. Yes, sir?
What blood pressure medicine was he on?
Amlodipine. Amlodipine was just recalled in the beginning of February of this year. Depends on the batch if you're taking it. They found a cancer-causing byproduct inside of it. It's 1 of 4, and the challenge is that they're not out there blatantly advertising this. If you have a device and you want to Google it, type in FDA blood pressure recall into Google, hit return, and you'll see the ones that are on the list. The key is, watch this, what if he never met me and he kept managing his blood pressure with his medications? He would end up, A, getting cancer in the future, and B, never getting his life back. All we did was found out he had cervical nerve damage and also the mid-thoracics that go to the heart. Now, your digestive system, second layer, is just as intimately involved with your heart as anything else. And what I'm going to share with you is this concept. You guys heard about this thing called leaky gut? Okay, now here's what I want you to do. We're shifting gears, so I need to make sure you understand. Everything I just mentioned to you was about interference. You might have spinal damage. But what would happen if we ran the x-rays and they're perfect, but you still have high blood pressure? That would mean you have one of the other ones. There's either toxicity or there's an inflammation coming from your gut. Does that make sense? It has to be one of these 3 or all of them. For most people, it's all of them to some degree, right? Now, your gut is directly connected to your heart by the bacteria that are inside of it. And I know that might be hard to understand, but I'll help you paint this picture in a second. What you have in here directly correlates to the amount of inflammation in your heart and technically your whole body. So what you have in your gut is approximately 15 to 20 pounds of bacteria, close to about 3 to 5,000 different strains of bacteria. So who's taking a probiotic, just by show of hands, because they think it's helping their gut be healthy, right? Okay, probiotics have how many strains of bacteria in them on average? 4. If you're lucky, you might have one that has 10. And how many strains are in your gut? Several thousand. Now watch out. Take a probiotic every day because you think it's helping your gut health. It's actually causing your gut to be overgrown by the strains you're taking, because all you're doing is putting those strains in and you're overloading your system with those 4, 5, 6, or 8, and it's called dysbiosis. Probiotics should not be taken every single day, nor should they be taken if you want to fix your gut, because it's not an inappropriate lack of you having healthy bacteria. It's the inflammation that's present that kills off what you have. Your body will reset its own bacteria by itself. Remember, supplements, vitamins, and nutrients are the same as medications. It's just you guys can get access to them, in my opinion. They manage symptoms, etc. People ask me, well, what kind of supplement should I take to lower my cholesterol? Don't do that. It's the same thing as doing it with statins. Well, red yeast rice, I heard, helps. Where do they get statins from? Red yeast rice. So you're doing the same thing, but it's over the counter, so you think it's safe. Oh, I'll do garlic, hawthorn, CoQ10, magnesium, etc., and I'll fix my blood pressure. No, you'll manage it, but you won't be taking the medication. Is it better? Yes, but it's not fixing the underlying cause. Does that make sense to you guys? Hopefully it does. Okay, so what happens here is this. Your intestines are made of trillions of individual cells. Each cell is responsible for being really close and tight next to each other for the sole purpose of protecting you from all the crud that's supposed to go to the toilet. Does that make sense? So you have an intestinal wall, and the wall is made of cells, just like a vessel in your body. Okay? Now, out here is your blood, and then this way to the toilet, right? So we have mouth on this end, and then we swallow it, and it goes out. Everybody got it? It's about as simple as I'm going to make it. Every single square inch of your body is thousands and thousands and trillions of cells. If we were to zoom in on this, on your intestinal lining, we would see that the cells are either really close next to each other and they're healthy, or they're spread apart and they're damaged, leaking. Does that make sense? It's not that you're leaking stool into your abdominal cavity. You're leaking at a cellular level, inflammatory processes, cytokines, bacteria, blah, 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 blah. Got it? Okay, what causes the cells to leak apart? The research is saying that this specific thing called, I know it's fuzzy, gluten, lands on the cells of your intestines, acts like a virus, causes the secretion of a protein called zonulin, which will land on the neighboring cell and spread it apart. They're now saying that gluten acts as if it's a virus. It's trying to infect your intestines. Okay, now watch. If the gluten lands on this cell, it sends a signal, zonulin comes out, lands on the cell next to it, it spreads apart, and then the gluten can get inside the interstitial tissues of your gut membranes. The only other thing that does that is a virus or a bacteria. So where do we get gluten from? Bread is a virus causing disease. Even more so today, because in the 1990s we genetically modified bread so we could grow more of it, and that modification made more gluten more dangerous. Every single one of you is gluten sensitive, regardless if you believe me or not. Every single one of you is gluten sensitive. If you eat wheat or oats or anything that has gluten in it, you will cause your cells to spread apart, creating inflammation, irritation, and damage. What they're now showing is your body, in its infinite wisdom, like your heart, will say, well, how do we fill those microscopic holes? What does it use? Cholesterol and fat. So watch what happens. Will your cholesterol go up when your gut's leaking? Yes. Will your blood pressure go up to try to help you push more fluids down there to seal it? Yes. Has your doctor ever told you that your cholesterol could be high because your gut's leaking?
No.
Okay, so can we test for the amount of leak in the gut? Yes. Here's what's really cool. There are ways to do this. I want to show you what the science is doing. This is not that old, guys. 2016. They're saying, wait a second. Your microbiome and heart failure are directly connected to each other. The ability for you to have a tight gut with good bacteria in it can determine if you're going to have heart health or not. They're now actually showing, watch this, that when your gut bacteria are there, they are trying to balance the inflammation. They're trying to help you. But they're now finding out that gluten spikes this specific molecule called TMAO. Fancy term, because it's hard to pronounce the whole thing. I know I'm going nerdy for our sciences. Ready? TMAO, as it increases, write this down, TMAO, as it increases, decreases nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is a muscle relaxer. So what will happen to your blood vessels when TMAO goes up? Your vessels will constrict and your blood pressure goes, oh. It's all here in the science. Pull the gluten. You know how some people will say, I went gluten-free, I went dairy-free, and my blood pressure reset itself. The reason is their gut started to get better because they stopped toxifying themselves, and they probably did some things to decrease inflammation. This is the Cleveland Heart Clinic saying we're now finding a really surprising link between your gut and your heart. If you have a gut, you have heart issues. Why do we pack so much fat here, and why do so many people say, I can't get this to go away, I've gone to the gym for hours, it's not going away? It's because it's leaking, and if you burn the fat out of it by going to the gym, your body's going to do what? More fat there. And you'll get frustrated because you lose 10 pounds, you gain it back. You lose 15, you gain it back. And you'll go, this is ridiculous. You got to pay attention. That's a gut leak. It's a major, major problem. We now know that what spikes that TMAO, again, sorry for the nerdiness, is this thing called phosphatidylcholine. If you eat phosphatidylcholine, you will increase TMAO, you will decrease nitric oxide, and you will cause inflammation in your body. Guess what foods have phosphatidylcholine in them at large amounts? Dairy products, cheese products, oats, oatmeal, whole grains, and rice and corn. Now watch, right? Doesn't Quaker Oats say, we can lower your cholesterol if you... Bunch of lies. All of it. Guess who owns Quaker Oats? Kraft Foods. Guess who owns Kraft Foods? Pharmaceutical company. No joke. Most of the food industries are owned by the pharmaceutical companies, guys. This one's amazing. Your gut microbiome, and they're going right after it. When was this? Not that long ago. Your gut microbiome and hypertension. They're showing that if you have something where they say you can't figure out why you have the hypertension, it's called essential hypertension, it is a guaranteed sign your microbiome's out of balance. Can we test your microbiome? Yes. This one's relatively new. It's the Microbiome Institute saying, oh, guess what? The gut bacteria actually lower your cholesterol. If you don't have the right gut bacteria, you can't lower your cholesterol naturally. They're saying our hypothesis is that the bacteria try to protect you against too many cholesterols in your body, and they would prevent you from having heart disease. So what we need to do is work on how do we fix the microbiome. Now real quick, look at me. If I take a drug, medication, anything, it could be Tylenol, aspirin, Advil, Motrin, Goodies powders, it could be lisinopril, HCTZ, lovastatin, simvastatin, norvastatin. What does it do to the bacteria in your gut? It kills them. Because you swallow it through your mouth, it goes into your stomach, it rolls through the intestines as it's being absorbed, and the bacteria die. Now, do you think, unfortunately, that the pharmaceutical company knows about this?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right? So your gut is directly plugged into your heart health, and I guarantee you are all missing this unless you're paying attention to getting tested and resetting your microbiome. How do we test for the microbiome? Okay, this is a urinary panel. Your doctor will not run this. A, because they don't know what to do with the results when it comes back, and B, there is no poop pill yet. But they're working on it. I promise you, Google it. They're trying to figure out a way for you to swallow a pill that will reset your microbiome, because they're like, well, if we can at least do this, people will buy it because everybody's going alternative. Okay? This is a urinary panel that we run on the majority of the people who come to see us, and what we're looking at is the relationship of the bacteria in your intestines. Okay, I'm going to help you translate gobbledygook. Ready? First, second, third, fourth, and fifth. This is like perfectionistic. If the black dots are in the first row, this bacterial marker tells us you don't have an overgrowth of certain strains of bacteria in certain regions. This is your upper digestion, middle digestion, lower digestion, large intestine, small intestine, stomach. Okay? Does this person have overgrown bacteria and yeast in their gut?
Yes.
Yes. What does that mean? They have a leaky gut. Now, if they go, well, I don't know about this, and I never knew this was happening, and I've been working out trying to figure out why I can't lose weight, what does it tell me? This is another reason why. Remember, it's either nerve is compressed, gut is leaking, or you're toxic. Can we run tests to find out if your gut's leaking? Yes. Now, anybody know if I ask Blue Cross, Medicare, MedCost, etc. to run this test, how much it costs? $1,300.
That's ridiculous.
It is, isn't it? Now, why is a test that finds cause so expensive?
Because it might erase other things.
No, because they don't want you to run them. They don't want you to run them. Why does an MRI cost thousands of dollars, but an X-ray is like a couple $100?
Yeah.
Because it's more specific, it shows exactly what the problem is. An MRI doesn't tell you how to fix it. An MRI just says, well, there's your problem. The more we identify the problem, the more costly it's going to be. What if I could show you a way that you can get this thing for just a couple $100? Would you guys go, hey, that might be worth doing? You guys know this, ready? As a doctor, if I buy the test for you using my credit card, they'll say, well, you're a doctor, so we're only going to charge you like a couple $100 for this. But a patient will have to pay thousands. If I run it on myself, I get a discount. So if you would be willing, would you let me run it on myself, but use your urine? That's what I do for our patients. So my credit card goes swoosh, and then I say, take this home, run this. When you come back, I'm going to show you what's going on. Now I'm going to ask you to help me not become bankrupt by just covering the cost of the test. Does that make sense? I'll go over those in a minute. But I promise you, if you want to do this, I'll help you save thousands of dollars on getting the right kinds of tests, okay? Second, easy way. We can have you stand on a scale that we have in our office that will break down your body's weight and tell us how much fat you have. This is really cool. Think about this. You can stand on a scale, and it has these little electrodes. You don't feel it. It just goes zip, and it tells me, oh, guess what? 36, 58, 102, whatever. How much of you is fat versus the rest of you? This is really neat. Now, here's why it's cool. If you know how much fat you have, and you have more than 50% of it here, what's happening? You're leaking. If you have more than 50% of your total body fat in your trunk, you're leaking by definition. Now this thing is easy, except the scale costs 10 grand. Okay, so I own several of them because we have a lot of patients come into our office, and I do it all the time. Okay, help me with this, and the answer's right here. 59 pounds total on the body, 34 inside his gut. Is he leaking? Yes. Okay, his weight is at 188 pounds, and he's got BMI issues. His body fat's really high, like obesity range, and he's severely dehydrated. And he's going, why do I have health issues? Your gut's leaking. What do you think he asks me?
How do I fix it?
How do I fix it? And I said, okay, well, we got to start a new regimen for your diet. I need to start detoxing you. I got to do maybe some colonics. I know it's tough, right? Enemas, maybe some suppositories to clean your gut out. Now remember, are you willing to do whatever it takes? Some people will say yes, but when I say go home, brew some coffee, stick it in the other end, let it sit there for 20 minutes, and then poop it out, if you're going, no way, doctor, then you won't heal.
Right.
It's the only way to do it. It's the only way to do it. Okay? Now watch. Watch. I know. Watch. This is several months of us working together. What happens with his weight? Never went to the gym. Never went to the gym. What happened to his body fat? Never went to the gym. Where is he right now compared to before? Sealed gut. Off almost every medication, lost a tremendous amount of weight, and said, I did this because I'm building a new family, I'm working on myself, I need to be around longer, right? That's what we do this for. Okay? I told you some things I'm going to say are going to make you go, huh? Now listen, this is Colleen who lives in Sarasota, Florida. Okay, it's a bit of a drive to come up to Charlotte, isn't it? But for some people, they'll do it. I have a patient who drove from Kentucky just this last week to come to the office to get an adjustment. You have to make the decision about yourself and your health and what you'll do. Listen to what she says. We're almost done, and then we'll have a great afternoon. Oh my gosh, is it not working? Oh, there it is.
My name's Colleen. I live down here in beautiful Sarasota, Florida. And I have been a patient of Dr. Ernst for the last 3 months. 6 months ago, I was really feeling a certain doom about the future. I'm 57 years old. I should be pretty healthy, but why would a healthy person feel so horrible? I had such fatigue, 10 hours of sleep in a night, get up and just want to lay down and take a nap. I mean, why would I be so fatigued? I have been on thyroid medication for well over 10 years, maybe 15 years. Heart palpitations, terrible, until I was really frightened. I thought, I'm going to have a stroke here, and I needed help. But I knew the only help that I knew to get was from my physician. And I thought, you know, that's going to lead to the 3 Ps, pills, procedures, and poverty. And I thought, and you know what, and pain. As fate would have it, the hand of God, my girlfriend from the Charlotte area sent me a YouTube video for another friend with diabetes, but it was a talk by Dr. Ernst, maybe like the one that you're at today. So the first thing he did was send me to go to the lab after I told him my problems. He said, well, now let's look at what's really going on inside. And so I've got a 5-page blood workup here. And when I went to the lab, the young lady was getting me ready, and I didn't know what I was doing there. So I said, what kind of tests am I getting today? And she looked at it and she said, the works. This told him from inside what I was telling him from outside. He knew exactly how to address it. My total cholesterol went down 40 points in the last 3 months. I'm really thrilled with these results, and it's kind of proof. So I guess the thing I'd like to say to you is that he can help you. And then when I get this second report back, he's like, okay, we've done really good here, but let's switch it up. We're going to do this little thing. It's tailored just to you. So one final discovery I have found through working with Dr. Ernst is that old-fashioned relationship with my physician that I wanted. And I think we can do that for you if you want to make that commitment. So it is a lifestyle change, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
So one thing just so you guys know, I try, because this is what kind of I received when I built my clinic with God, was to say, don't be the doctor, have your patients be the doctor. So I have to teach, educate, help you to know what you need to do for yourself. Does that make sense? So when she says like this old-fashioned relationship, it's because I always try to say, do you understand what we're doing? This makes sense. Do you see where we're going with this? Rather than just take this, do this, and blindly go after it, right? Now, another thing just to point out and to connect the dots here, your gut is what we've been talking about with leaky guts. Remember we talked earlier about the spinal cord and the nerves and the vagus nerve, things like this? Here's what they're now finding. This is why sometimes you got to watch out for having more than just one thing. If your vagus nerve is blocked, then the gut cannot talk to the brain. And so therefore, sometimes you can have vagal nerve damage causing leaky gut, or you could have no vagal nerve damage, have a leaky gut, and still have health issues. Does that make sense? They're interconnected to each other. So if you get tested and your x-rays look fabulous, but you still have health issues, that would mean the gut's definitely the primary source. Does that make sense? If you get x-rays and your vagus nerve is blocked, it means you definitely have a leaky gut and you have everything else. The nerves trump everything. And they're now showing that the nerve is what actually talks to the gut back and forth. And they're now showing that your gut is where you make almost all of your feel-good hormones. So those of you who are like, well, I just feel tired and fatigued and I'm forgetful and I can't seem to pay attention, your intestines are supposed to make all the hormones for you. Those hormones are secreted through the nerve system back to the brain. So what if the vagus nerve is compressed? You never get them. Does that make sense? Euphoria comes from clearing the spine and clearing your gut out, and that's 2 of the 3 layers to get your heart healthy again. Everybody with me on this? Okay? Now, these are the areas we look at when we take x-rays to check even the gut. Now, I know this is tough, isn't it? Some people will say, well, my intestines are the problem, doctor. Why aren't you looking like here? Why are we looking at my neck? It's all interconnected. Does that make sense? I had a patient once who came in with a really bad right knee and gout in their right toe, and I was looking up here. I'm like, hold on, let me see something real quick. And they're like, I think did you not hear me? My knee. Go down here, like go down, isn't it? You guys understand? All interconnected from major source. This is the primary region for most of us. You need to make sure that is not interfered with, okay? Now, as we wrap out today, I want to talk to you about how The medication we're taking is creating I'll call it, secondary effect that's also making the gut leak and causing the nerves to be interference. It's like they're all interconnected together. Can you have leaky gut, have toxicity, have nerve damage, and have a heart issue? Yes. Can you have toxicity by itself, no leaky gut, no nerve damage? Yes, but the toxins will eventually create the gut leak, which will eventually create the nerve damage. Do you guys see it? It's all interconnected together, right? So we know today that medications are extremely toxic. Okay, if you took the cholesterol drugs or your blood pressure drugs and said, I'll just down the whole bottle right now, what would happen? Okay, so what happens at the end of the day, of the month, when you go to refill your prescription then? So you took all 30 of them over 30 days. What's the difference if you took all 30 at once versus 30 over 30 days?
It's a slow
It's a
down.
slow phase. You guys see it? If all 30 would kill you instantly, at the end of the month, you're slowly killing yourself. And they're now showing that drug issues, even prescriptions, are killing more people than car accidents, guns, and everything else. But what is our government trying to go after right now? If we could get rid of all the guns, nobody would die anymore. No, get rid of the drugs and people will stop dying. That's just, for me, that's what we should be doing. Okay? What are the things that create toxicity? It is our diet. And listen, I could talk for hours, and I don't want to keep you guys here forever, but I have whole seminars on just food, diet, toxicities. Go online, go to our YouTube channels, watch them. But it's real simple. It's an acronym that you guys can easily remember, right? Stop eating crap. Carbonated beverages, refined sugars, artificial foods, things that are not real in nature, and anything processed in a box. All of this causes toxicity to the human body. All of it. Carbonated beverages, refined sugars, artificial foods, and processed foods. Here's an example of crap. Okay? Now help me with this, right? What is in here causing heart disease more than anything else? I heard the fries, I heard the oils. Bread is causing heart disease more than the rest. The bread is causing it more. The bread causes direct gut damage, and the gut is directly connected to your heart. The oils that these were fried in is why they're so dangerous. The potato is not so much of a big deal. It's a starch, it's a carb, but it's fried in what kind of oil? Vegetable oil. And the chicken is fried in vegetable oil, probably not organic, etc. And the lettuce is probably not organic, and this has got modified corn syrup in it, which increases TMAO. You see it?
Yeah.
Modified corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup. TMA goes up when you eat phosphatidylcholine, which is found in dairy and things that are wheat-based and things that have corn and rice and oats. Make sense?
Yeah.
This is, like the typical person's pantry, according to the internet. And look, all of this stuff. Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, what the heck am I supposed to eat? Real food. Okay, now, if you're healthy, fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, clean proteins, and that's pretty much all you need, because that's all you're designed to eat. Okay, what should we be drinking? What are we designed to drink? Water. What else?
Water.
That's it. Now, what would happen if you gave your dog what you drink? Think about this. If you gave your dog what you drink for their bowl, they will get sick and die.
Oh.
Prove it. If you pour Coke into a dog's bowl and that dog drinks the Coke, it's going to get diabetes and it's going to die. But yet you think there's nothing wrong with you drinking it. If you gave your cat sweet tea every day instead of what it needs, which is water, what will happen? They get sick and they die. I'm not trying to just ground this, but I want you to see you're not designed to drink anything but water. But you're going to go, oh, water tastes terrible. Put some lemon in it. Put some salt in it. Put some things in it to make it taste good, okay? Watch this. I believe that what's happening is we are eating ourselves into disease because of wheat, corn, and soy. Now, this is a study that was done to show the amount of Roundup and the genetic modification of food that occurred in the early 90s. This is the prevalence of deaths due to hypertension in the U.S. It was on a steady rise, and then what happened in 1990? We started modifying corn, soy, and wheat, spraying it with glyphosate, and look at the near 1-to-1 rise in what happened. This is stroke deaths. Look at the near 1-to-1 rise. Heart attacks, a near 1-to-1 rise. This is causation and correlation in science. What is causing hypertension is genetically modified corn, soy, and wheat that was then sprayed with Roundup, and you eat it, and it causes damage to your intestines, and the Roundup is toxic to the human body. Okay? It's not just heart. They are now Did you guys hear about the lawsuit that happened with the guy in California or wherever that like won $250 million because he got cancer from Roundup? Did you guys hear about this?
Yes.
They're now doing studies going, okay, well, what's happening? We'll look at liver cancers, direct correlation. Autism in the United States is almost 99.9% connected. The amount of people who go to a hospital, directly connected. The amount of dementia, directly connected. Diabetes, directly connected. Celiac. They have literally thousands and thousands of them showing we modified corn, soy, and wheat. We sprayed it with Roundup, and disease is going through the roof as a result. Why do you need to stop eating wheat, rice, corn, soy, oats, and all vegetables or fruits that are not organic? It's because of Roundup. Roundup is literally killing the inside of your intestines. There is a test that you can order online to see how much Roundup is in your body. It's called urinary malonylaldehyde. If we call LabCorp and say, hey, can I pull your urine, send it, and get a test, they'll say, sure. It's $800 for one urinary test to see how much Roundup you have in you. Okay, this guy's about maybe 99 bucks, and you can find out how much is inside of you. So I used to run this on patients when they would come in. They'd say, Dr. Ernst, I want to be a patient of yours. And I would say, they would say, I want to find out how much Roundup I have. I'll give them a little tiny glass bottle. And what you do is you drip your urine into like a mason jar, little pipettes. You take the urine, you drip it in there. If it turns red, you have Roundup in your body. Look at this. These are people who came in as new patients. I mean, as blood red. We don't do it anymore because every single one tests positive for it. So we use it now later on downstream after 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 months to see has it been coming out. Okay? Second, did you guys know that all toxins will hang around inside of fat cells because your body uses it to protect it. So if you're struggling to lose weight, if you can't figure out why your abdomen is not shrinking, it's because you have a toxicity load to the volume. So if you work out or diet, if you go paleo, keto, Mediterranean, it's all great, but if you're toxic, you're going to get sick when you do the healthy diets. Does that happen to anybody? Yes. Like you went really clean and all of a sudden you're like, my head is split, I got diarrhea like crazy, this is insane. What it means is you're shrinking your body volume, you weigh less, but your toxicity stayed the same, so by concentration you're now more toxic, so you will always rebound, you'll always gain the weight back. What should you do instead? Identify the toxin, get it out of you using chelators, using detoxifiers, not juice cleanses, not the Whole Foods 21-day detox, not the colon rooter that they sell over at Walgreens for $9. Those are cleanses. Detoxing means, what is that? Is it pesticide? Is it herbicide? Is it fungicide? Is it heavy metal? Is it something? What is it? And go after that specifically using some agent that's designed to do it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Now the neat thing is we can really test for toxins today. But is Blue Cross, MedCost, Aetna, UHC, and Medicare going to pay for a toxicity test?
No.
So will you be willing to let me help you by covering the cost and cutting it in half or more? I hope you would. Here's a blood panel that we run. And here's why I run this. Okay, number one, did you hear Colleen say it's like 9 pages long, more involved than every other doctor she's ever done? We look at not just your sugars and your A1Cs. Creatinine tells me if your kidneys are working. C-reactive protein tells me the amount of inflammation in your heart. The amount directly in your heart. If CRP is high, I know that this is going on, the cholesterol blocking. We can lower CRP by detoxing. Homocysteine is an inflammatory marker for your whole body. Are you inflamed in all joints, tissues, your brain, etc.? We want to look at thyroid because thyroid drives all energy in your body. If your thyroid is sluggish, your doctor will miss it because they'll just do TSH. And they'll say, TSH, see how this is normal? TSH is normal, but we come down here and what do we see? Whoa! Antibodies against the peroxidase enzymes and the globulins. This is an autoimmune thyroid, but yet the doctor would look right over it. And we're looking at vitamin D because it's a healing molecule. Get the right test done and you can find out exactly what's causing your interference. Are we clear on that? Mm-hmm. Okay, now this panel through LabCorp is about $1,100. It's ridiculous the amount of cost that they do. But I can get it for like about $150, $200. Okay, so I'm going to show you some ways you can bundle together some things and save on it. But I want to show the pink elephant in the room that no one's talking about when we talk about toxicity in your heart. Okay, everybody ready for this? Heavy metals, specifically in the research. This is the National Library of Medicine. These guys have been published since 1998, 2011. They're showing, ready? The amount of mercury, lead, and cadmium in your urine when you urinate is directly connected to causative effects with high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, and other heart-related issues. Translation, the more metals you urinate out, the more metals are in your body, the more they interfere with your heart. And one of the biggest ones is mercury and lead. Where would mercury come from in our body? The fish is really, really small. Who said teeth? Teeth is the number one source of mercury for all of us. If you have a silver filling in any tooth, you have mercury in your body because it has mercury inside of it. Okay, second biggest source are root canals. Root canals have metallic stems that they push down in the roots that have metals and mercury inside of them. If you have a root canal, you have mercury in your body. Fish is the third to fourth source after vaccinations because we use thimerosal in flu shots and things to this effect. Does that make sense? Where do we get lead from? How does lead get into your body?
Old pipes, water.
In your house, potentially, right? So if you live in a house that has leaded pipes and stuff like that. Where else? Not the air. It's going to be in paint if it's in an old house. Now here's the thing, okay? Because rates this, like worth doing. Ready? Lead is now being found in a lot of food products that are processed, boxed, and things like that. They're finding lead in fruit juices. They're finding lead in cheap protein powders. Like when you go to GNC and you buy this 2-pound tub of whey protein for $25, has lead inside of it. Also the, what I'll call vegetable-based protein powders. Rice protein powders have lots of lead in them. They also have arsenic. We are consuming foods that have heavy metals in them. We're getting vaccines and shots, and we inherit a lot of it from our parents. Because if you grew inside, like you did, your mom has high lead. Lead is able to cross the placental barriers and get into you. You might have been born with high lead, which means you're preset for certain diseases. So can you test for these metals? Yes. Okay, one way of doing it is a urinary metals test. This is a patient of mine that I'm working with. You're going to hear his testimony in a second. Help me out here. What is the highest test for him? Yeah, lead. Lead's supposed to be at 2. He's at 46. How high is that? And he goes, so what do I need to do to get my heart healthy? Okay, does he need to be adjusted? More than likely. Does he need to clean his gut out? Oh, absolutely. But if we just do those two, go to a chiropractor, change my diet, clean it out, will he heal? No, because no one looked deep enough to test for it. Okay? Now, pulling lead takes time. Sometimes it can take 6 months, 8 months, a year. But I don't know about you, but if we can reduce it by 50% and you can cut your meds down by 50%, it's worth doing. Okay, who's had metals tested? Just like, of course you guys. And of course you guys are patients. Okay? Has anybody ever had a heavy metals test that's currently taking a blood pressure medication, cholesterol, etc.? We need to get them done. Okay, I'll help you with this. Right? This is Russell, who's down in Savannah. Now listen, the reason I show sometimes testimonials from people that aren't here in Charlotte is Savannah's like 6 hours. Do you agree? Okay, now some people come to our seminars and are like, oh, Dr. Ernst, I live in Valentine. You want to go to North Charlotte? I'm not kidding you. You know how many people called in from the radio commercials and the radio show I did and said, Hilton Garden Inn? What's the address? And we went, it's in Charlotte. And they're like, where? We're like, Smith Corners Boulevard, 2269. They're like, oh, north? Hang up on it. I'm not going to North Charlotte. I live in South Charlotte. Because all of you are really, really close. Okay, Savannah, Georgia drives all the way up here because he was listening. He works here one day out of the week, lives down in Savannah, Georgia, heard my radio show, said, oh my God, I think you might be able to help me. Listen to his testimonial real quick and then we'll wrap up for the day. Are we okay?
Hi, I'm Russ, and I want to share with you some of my experiences with Dr. Ernst. Before I met with Dr. Ernst, my health was less than I had hoped for. Doctors told me that my thyroid was out of balance. I had hypothyroid. My cholesterol and blood pressure were both high. My hormones in general were unbalanced, and I suffered from GERD. So the doctors offered me a list of prescription medications, and none of which I really wanted to take, but what could I do? They're the doctors, so I started that program. Within 2 or 3 years, I realized that I wasn't feeling any better. So fortunately, I met with Dr. Ernst after listening to one of his radio programs. And what he was saying really resonated with me. the testing that we started was very extensive. The blood work that he did was beyond what my thyroid doctor had been doing. We did multiple urine tests, and we did spinal evaluations. And this is what he discovered were causing my health issues. I had a toxic liver, I had heavy metal overload, a leaky gut, and the nerves to my heart, thyroid, liver, and intestines were less than optimal. So I began a program that Dr. Ernst had set up for me. And here we are, 9 to 10 months later. Here's my results. I'm no longer taking statins for my cholesterol. I'm no longer taking lisinopril for my blood pressure. I'm no longer taking GERD medication. And I've lost 30 pounds. So now I have increased energy, and I do workouts that are 4 to 5 days a week, and they include weightlifting, jogging, running. So here's my bottom line on this. If you're sick of being sick and you're tired of popping prescription pills, and which by the way only manage your symptoms and typically don't cure anything, then you want to listen to what Dr. Ernst has to say today. Pay attention. Meet with him. I can tell you it's made all the difference to me, and I know it can for you too. Thank you, and I wish you all the best.
So guys, this is stuff I hear every single day, not just with blood pressure and cholesterol and things like that. I've kind of pulled these for today. You know, it's really amazing when I hear someone say, hey, Dr. Ernst, my stage 4 cancer is no longer stage 4, it's now stage 2. My cancer markers are returning to normal, and my doctor's taking me off chemo. I'm on dialysis, and I can't even produce my own urine, and I've been with you 90 days, and they've taken me down to only once per week on dialysis. I've had patients who have been written off by medicine to the degree of them saying, you're at end stage, we have nothing left, and they're now alive, happy, and healthy and well. It's a true blessing for me to be able to work with people, and I know that one thing that God did was, in his blessing to me through my health, was he also blessed me financially. I do not have to work a day in my life if I ever wanted to just retire today. I could be set forever. I decided, regardless of that would be a detriment to the gifting that he gave me. So what I now do is I help people financially to get well, because most people are restricted and held back by the cost of what it takes to get their health back. Would you agree? So one thing I'm going to offer you is I would like to pay for your tests. And in an indirect way, I'm going to ask for you to just cover the cost of what it costs me to run your tests. Okay, so would you agree, if I send you to LabCorp, there's going to be a fee for the test to be run. And I'm going to collect your urine, and I'm going to send you, to send it off to our lab in Asheville. They're going to charge a fee for me to process the urine and get the results back. For you to get some x-rays, there's a cost for that. To come into the clinic and sit with me and talk with me, there's cost for all this kind of stuff. Okay, so in just a moment, I'm going to show you what it would cost if you want to use your insurance, what my costs are as a physician to do it, and then all I say is if you want to get tested, please reimburse me the cost of the labs so that our office is at a neutral of nothing. And then I'll give you 3 visits, which I'll show you in a second. First, to come in and get all your testing. Second, to meet with me for half an hour so we can go over exactly what we found. Do a therapy. We're going to give you either a detox to do, we're going to adjust you, we're going to give you some diet to follow, and then we'll follow up with you usually about 7 days, and then we'll sit down together one-on-one for up to an hour. And I'm going to say, okay, here's what you should do. Do this. Here's what you need help with. You need to have this done or that done. If you want me to do it, I can. If you want to go somewhere else, you can. Okay, I'll help you to connect with people that need to help you. If you need to get a filling out of your tooth, I don't do that. But I know people who do, and I know who do it safely, and I'll connect you with them. Does that make sense? Okay? My question is, if you're sitting here today and you've never had a real health assessment, that's what we do. We're going to run every single thing we can possibly to figure out what's causing your interference, okay? That involves looking at your inflammation. It involves doing blood tests, urine tests, neurological tests, etc., okay? The road less traveled in my world would be finding the cause instead of medicating symptoms. Are we all in agreement on that? Okay, so here's how this works. If you want our VIP Ultimate Health Tests, this is the average retail cost if filed through an insurance company. The 2 panels, blood, urine, and neurological testing, retail at $16.97. What if you just want to do the in-office test? No blood, no urine, but get neurological, gut, and then that little pee test to see how toxic you are. Does that make sense? That would cost us about $497 if we bill it through an insurance company. You'd have to pay $497 to come into the clinic and get that done. Everybody okay with this? If you add a blood test, if you say, well, I can't do that, but I'd like to do this, we add the blood test to it because it looks for inflammatory markers, generalized toxicities, etc. Your insurance would ask you to pay about $897. None of these are covered by them. If you have a deductible, you'd have to pay for it in full up front. No insurance company covers functional testing, especially when ordered by me, because I don't have an MD. I have a functional medicine degree, chiropractic degree, and physical therapy degree. If you do all of them, everything, the functional microbiome, your genetic profiling for your intestines, looking at your blood work, your toxicities, and all the in-office tests, that's what it costs, Blue Cross, MedCost, UHC, etc. Okay? This is what it cost me to physically run them for you. Okay? It's $1,000 less. You get every single thing tested. It costs $697. My office will swipe my credit card to order your labs, and all we ask you to do is you pay us that back so that we're at a balance of zero between the two of us. Does that make sense?
Through our insurance.
No.
No.
If you use your insurance, you're going to have to pay $1697 to my clinic because I can't give discounts if it's filed through Blue Cross, Aetna, UHC, etc. If you let me buy your tests, not asking your insurance to help, then it's only $697 for me. Does that make sense to you guys? And what you do is you pay $697, so now my office didn't make a dime on anything, and I'm going to give you 3 visits to show you every single thing that's going on. Now the blessing that I'd like to give is this. If you then decide, once we find the cause of your health issues, that you want to work with us, I will give you your $697 back as a credit towards the cost of your care. Does that make sense? So if you do a $697 purchase up front, I'll pay for your labs so they stay at a cheaper price. You'll come into my clinic 3 separate times so we can figure out what's going on. And if you say to me, God, Dr. Ernst, we found it, and I need a little neurological work, I need to do a detox, I need to clean out my gut, I will take a credit and put it right into your account to lower the cost of your care to help you out in the end. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to end up paying for your tests. Does that make sense? Now you're shaking your head because I've had people say, why on earth would you do this? Why wouldn't I? Because if I don't, what are you going to do? How many of you right now would literally pull out your credit card, walk over there, and swipe $16.97 to come into my office? Be truthful. How many of you would do it? Maybe one. And guess what? I've had people do that. They're like, why would you give me a discount? I'll just pay the full price. I respect you on that. But what if I could help you and cut the cost down? Now how many of you might say, yeah, maybe. Yeah. And then if I told you, well, listen, I know we can find the cause of your problem, and I know that I can help you, why don't I then give it to you back? I'll give you your money back as a credit to the cost of your care. Guys, that's what I do. If you want to do that, it's real simple. There is a little half sheet inside of your this blue folder that says schedule a breakthrough health evaluation. Can you guys pull this down real quick? Okay, here's what's going to happen. There's going to be like a mad rush in 2 directions. 1, to me to ask questions, because it always happens for some reason. And 2, to get in that line over there to talk to my staff. We have our computers, we have our schedules, we have everything. Okay, what you do is you put your information here because we need some basics. Okay, I need your name, your birth date. Why do I need birth date? Because we have to order some labs for you, and I need to know that you are who you are, and we have to put you in our system. Does that make sense? Over here are the times and availabilities for you to come into our office. Now, there's no dates next to them because what we want you to do is circle 2 that you would like. For example, I would really like Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Does that mean you're coming in this Wednesday at 8:30? Maybe. I have no idea. My staff will pull my schedule and they'll say, oh yeah, we have Wednesday at 8:30. We'll put you down for it. The reason you're circling a second one is in case that's booked and you want a different time. Please help us to see what available times you have, and then all I ask you to do is check what you want us to do. Now, retail fees are here. You need to scratch through it and write down the fee you want to pay. Sign the bottom so you understand what's included, and on the back side it'll give you a reminder of what you guys are getting tested. Does that make sense to everyone? It's as easy as this. Fill out the front top, circle your top 2 times that you would like to have, and then check off the level of testing you want, and then my office will work on getting you scheduled and everything else. Okay, are we okay with this? Yes.
Do we have to do that today, or
You will need to do
we
it-
still get the same rate if we call back like the day or so?
Talk to her about that. Typically, we ask that you do the payment today. Okay, so she might do something to help you with that. Okay, I'll let them decide. My staff handles all finances. I don't even know if I can answer that question properly, so they can help you with that. But really, I know there's a couple questions, right? Once you hand this in over there, she's going to open my schedule up. Now, you might be like, well, can I do this next week? Yes, it's all based upon my schedule, okay? Now, we need to order labs, which means you have to fill out some paperwork. And we've massively simplified this process. You're going to get a sheet of paper that has a website that says draaronernst.com/adult application. Real simple. You can open it on your phone and fill it out today before you leave if you want. It takes less than 10 minutes now. Our paperwork used to take forever because it's like 30 pages long because I ask a lot of questions. We've condensed it, we've shortened it. It's a survey. Yes, no, 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 yes, no, no, no. Answer the questions on your computer or your phone. Hit submit. It comes directly to us. Once we get your paperwork, then we can order labs. I need to be really clear on this. I cannot pay for your labs unless you're a patient in our database because we have to issue an order from our office since I am paying for it. Does that make sense? So you have to fill the paperwork out first. They will give you all the instructions. All I ask is if you want to meet with us, circle the dates and times, check off the ones you want, take this form right over there, and my team will take great care of you. Does that make sense? Okay, there was like one or two questions. Somebody, yes?
Are you able to sign up someone tonight?
Yes, you can sign up a spouse, a family member, a loved one, etc. It is the same rate for each person, no matter how many people we're doing. So it's husband and wife, 1, 2, or 1, 2, whatever. You will just need to have them give like one more sheet for you so you can fill it out. It's easy to do. Any other questions on that? Are we good to go? Okay. So here's the thing. I can stay here for like 7 to 10 minutes because I have a radio show today that I'm going down to WBT to do as well. Who's heard my radio show before? Just out of curiosity. Right? So like a lot of you have, right? So thank you for coming. I really love the fact you're here. I wanted to see if we would show like this feedback. Was this like wow or was it like wow wow? Like you're wow. Now the only reason I'm trying to go a little quicker is I'm sensing some of you are like okay. If you have a specific question for me, I'm guaranteeing you walk up here and you say, what about this? I'm going to say, well, we need to get the testing done. So ultimately, my advice would be decide if you want to take the road less traveled to get the right testing done, and then we can go from there. Is that okay? You guys good? Yeah. Thank you for coming today. I hope you really enjoyed it.